This is your weekend market review for Friday, August 30th, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for Friday, August 30th, 2024. Hopefully you had a great week. Sorry I was not around. I was at the Tom Ferry Real Estate Conference from basically Monday to last night. Got in, had a bunch of stuff to do. Wanted to talk about the market, what to expect next week. We have jobs data. We have a little bit of data midweek, shortened holiday week, typically bullish. However, be careful. I expect, at some point, we've talked about the market, economy, everything's slowing. It confirmed this week for sure in real estate. Because again, I know for a fact the actual number of units homes sold is back below the COVID numbers. Like, we've had such a slowdown dramatically from the higher interest rates. Will that change? Again, I tell people all the time, if you're looking at real estate, right now is the time to start looking. Again, don't pull the trigger if you don't feel comfortable. But if you're looking, man, it is highly uncompetitive if you're looking to buy. One of the zones that I'm paying attention to, that within a half a mile, 28 properties listed, 18 price cuts. If you are looking to buy, again, trying to steal a property, this is the time to do it. And if you're looking to sell, you better have an amazing strategy. You better work with an amazing agent who's going to get the most eyeballs, get everything done so that you sell the property. People are like, oh, I don't want to pay commission. I'm telling you right now, paying commissions is the key right now. If you're working with an amazing agent, they're not going to work for free. It's like it's like asking to work with the best doctor or attorney in the country or in your area and being like, well, I don't want to pay them. Brutal what the news is trying to create with this new lawsuit and everything, all the new rules passed. Again, professionals are professionals. You want to work with a mediocre person, go right ahead. Sorry to rant on that, but it's interesting to me because, again, that's all week. That's what was kind of the, prove your worth. And again, prove your worth, meaning know that you know how to help people. And again, serve others to do the best they freaking can. So if you need any help, please reach out. If you're following this channel and you don't reach out and you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, talk about you need help with trading and you don't reach out, I don't know why. Use the Calendly link. It's in the description below. Hit me up. If you're following, follow on the Twitter. Post all of our trades and thoughts. If you're new to the channel, check out the website, tradingagent.com. Back to Basics education series. All sorts of fun things on this website. Also, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and here's the education trading videos. There's 52 of them. If you want me to do something on something specific to your situation, what you're thinking in, holla. All right. Dollar got smoked today, which is interesting. Bonds got sold. Interesting. Again, I thought the odds of a rate cut would be increasing to 50 basis points at the dollar getting smoked. As we talked about, choppy and sloppy. Bitcoin, same thing. Choppy and sloppy. You got to be very careful now. This looks like a lower high. If that's the case, a lower low could follow. Oil, we talked about, chopping around. Again, demand destruction is real. My guess is, again, I don't know how low it's going to go, but I will be patient. Natural gas, as we talked about, wait for it. Same kind of thing, just waiting for natural gas. Again, when the Feds pivot and they go full liquidity bomb, then you'll know. If that makes sense. TLT, talked about selling calls against the UBT, taking some profits near term. Again, do I expect the bonds to get crushed? Inflation picks up. The PCE today was not good. Again, I think in time bonds will be bought when inflation comes in and the Feds have to, again, higher rates this long are going to be damaging, but this is where you sell the calls on the UBT, you print a little money, hope it pulls back, do it again. Dollar broke the 28. Again, I mean, I don't know, some people say, oh, it's up. You broke support. Looks like a dead cat bounce to me. Just keep an eye on it. Watching the 20-day. VIX, talked about it bottoming, but it doesn't mean necessarily it's going to rocket. Clearly not. That's where you got to be careful. Again, SPY, the close, impressive. Lupus talked about head and shoulders on the 10-minute. Yeah, look at this choppy, sloppy action. You were leading to one way or another. And this the end of the month, be careful. For the love of God, be careful. Can we break out? Yeah. Could it be a bull trap? Yeah. Could it be the next move up? And again, just endless inflation? Yeah. Anything's possible. So if you're shorting, define your risk. If you're long, roll up your stops. Whatever you're doing, define your risk. Don't get blown out. QQQ was buying the SQQ this week. Yeah. Lagging. That's interesting, right? We talked about the freaking Qs are now lagging. The leading sector for the last whatever felt like forever. AI, AIO. now lagging. Telling you, the market's changing. IWM chopping around, seems to be making lower highs. DIA holding up pretty darn well. Got to give it credit where credit's due. Gold, don't trust it. Like it long term. Again, physical all day. All day. Channeling up, but I want to buy when silver's leading, the metal miners are leading. They look like they're lagging. GDX, talked about this, needs to break out. Makes a new high, gives it up. GDXJ, the juniors are the riskiest of risk. They should be leading up. It's like silver leading gold in the big moves up. Junior miners should be leading up. They're not. AEM holding up really damn well. We talked about this is the best. I mean, again, looks the best. AG. Yeah, I don't know. Newmont, again, we talked about this. Should be in the 70s and 80s. Holding up pretty damn well. Again, out of town all week, looking at it. It's like, okay, credit where credit's due. Pass. I'd pass on this. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Keep it simple, stupid. Let's get into tech because this is the lagging dog, right? Taiwan Semi, nice little wick up. Look at that on Thursday. Watching that range. Micron, we talked about. If you can't get over 108, watch out. Pulling back. We zoom out. I mean, this looks like a big downtrend, but it could, I don't know. Any of these are due to bounce at some point if the market's holding up. Just be careful. Again, manage your positions. AMD hits all these moving averages. Rejection. NVIDIA, talked about everyone long in the world, the stock. Of course, it gets beaten on earnings. Man, really wanted to short up here, but didn't wait for earnings. Waiting for the bounce to be short on the earnings day, the NVDS, and you got it in the mid to low 30s. Looking pretty good. Again, I think they're going to get crushed in time. Again, $3 trillion company. Price to sales numbers make 0 cents. Feels good to be a gangster. Said SMCI 400s was coming. And again, now there's talk about fraud and all this other stuff, so be careful. That looks like a blowout. Sometimes, again, at the highs, they advertise everything's great. At the lows, they advertise everything's bad, meaning the market makers, the news. Keep an eye on this one. This could be a very good stock long term if it holds up. Intel, there's talks about them going private, being sold. Congrats. Again, if you bought this today, nice close. Again, closing at 22. We talked about this being dead cat, drop, and then chop. Okay. This is why you don't chase this stuff. I mean, look what you did. Took for a while, forever. Then once it got over the 20-day, you went. So how high could it go? This one's tough. Man, I don't know. 25? That's where I'd be looking. SMH, it means 50-day. Can't get over it. Rolling down. Tech not leading, but again, it doesn't mean it has to blow up all in one day. Adobe finally got some levels. Talked about this endlessly. Congrats. You are at what I consider the best area of risk reward for shorting. Define your risk. If you go long and it breaks out, congrats. If you go short, fails, congrats. Apple. I mean, again, I didn't do anything this week. Thank God. Look at yesterday's action. Big Doji talking about some numbers with the Apple's iPhone 16, which is always the same, bro. It's always the same. I mean, it's in like their iPhones. They're not doing anything special. Always just following. Did it fill the gap? I mean, pretty close. Keep an eye on this one. Amazon. Nice rally Friday. Again, seems to be holding. Could it be building? Got to get over the 150-day cross. Meta, we talked about it, failing in the 530s. There you go. Keep an eye on this stuff. Again, tech is lagging. If it catches up next week with some new money, worth a watch, and then see what happens. CRM, pops on earnings, gives it back. Feels like Adobe 2.0. Guggenheim, chopping, going nowhere. Microsoft seems to be stuck under this 425 area. We talked about this. Going nowhere. NDAQ. My favorite short. Again, I've got some long dated puts that I bought for cheap. Stock, not so much. Again, people are like, oh, you'll be wrong. I'm like, okay. Well, again, if the Nasdaq peaked, do you think the volumes are going to continue to grow? No. So again, it's not always easy. It's not always right away. Worth a watch. Again, if you got some, again, I've defined my risk with some puts, so I'm okay with that. MicroStrategy, again, we talked about it needs Bitcoin to get higher. Gave it right back at the chop range. I'm not surprised. Netflix holding up pretty damn well. Credit where credit's due. Can't really say much. Roblox, I know some folks trading this, the breakout. Holding up, again, got to get over this 47 area, really blow out. Pan W, as we talked about this, got bought. We talked about, man, this is a nice move. Pulls back, held support, fills the gap. Keep an eye on it. Again, I like cybersecurity names. I know Pelosi owns this long term. Congrats. Tesla, again, it's not all shorts, all longs. It's just trading what seems like the best. Tesla, again, I think this is a big trading mechanism. It's stuck at trend lines and all sorts. Again, apologize for all the dirty lines here. It just seems to be a trading vehicle. Be careful. Good old, where's my mouse? Oh, it's dying. Dying mouse. Insight. Watching this area. Again, we talked about pulling back, buying it on dips, held the trend line. Pretty simple. Pfizer, talked about this one, holding trend. So far, it seems to be. I mean, when I zoom in, just keep an eye on it. This one might have some up in it. McDonald's, again, I don't talk about the politics of it, but whatever. Told the 290s, worth a watch. DKNG, talked about oversold bounce, hits the 50-day, hits some resistance, backing off. Airbnb, dead cat bounce. After earnings, seems to be stuck. I mean, could it pull Intel? Well, they made some rumors. Be careful. Costco going global, as we talked about. Man, it feels like a bull trap. I said that in last week's recap. I said, be careful. This feels like it could break out and fail. I mean, is it priced to perfection? That's the question you have to ask yourself. Right? Starbucks. Talked about this one. Again, this thing has... Yeah, just because they have a new strategy and it pops up, it doesn't mean it can't just go sideways for a while. Just be careful. I mean, I'm not going to say much other than that. I mean, it feels like this could be a left shoulder and a head. Watch the right shoulder. Because again, I don't think Starbucks, just because they have a new manager, is all of a sudden going to just blow up. FedEx, we talked about filling the gap, chopping around. So far, so good. Caterpillar, when it held the 100-day, said it could potentially get back up. Seems to be holding up again. It's hard to short and do well when the market's up. It's hard to go long if you're in tech, it seems to be chopping around. Just, again, define your risk. Deere, we talked about this one off the bottom. Boom. Going into earnings. Boom. Pretty solid move. 40 points, 10, 12%. Nucor, we like steel long term, but waiting for it to play out. Very choppy, sloppy. X, again, if Harris is winning, I think they get bought out. If Trump wins, it's going to be different. Vale, we like this name. Again, we like global growth names, commodities, but I don't like them until the whoosh. Arrow, big pendant, chopping around. CCJ. Again, I hate when Goldman upgrades the highs. Wink, wink for NVIDIA. And it pulls back. Now it's just chopping around. CF, again, we like ag long term. Got to eat. They're in big chop zones. Do what you need to do with them. Again, if you want to buy them and hold them, it makes sense down here, but is what it is. Aaron, chopping around. XLF, thank God for stops. Seems to be holding up pretty damn well. Can't really say much. Tried to roll into some Apple. Took a very little bit. Again, when I'm not around, I'm not going to overtrade. I'm not going to pretend that I have to trade always. Again, next week, we'll probably be eyeing some things. Again, as we talked about, holiday weeks can be bullish. The hardest thing right now is the chop. I mean, look at the SPY. Just chop, 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 chop. QQQ, chop, chop, chop. Semi, chop, chop, chop. JP Morgan, holy shit, up to 225 this week. Wow. Again, they're not buying back their own stock. Why? I don't know. Again, because I think they do know. I do know. They don't see value in it. Morgan Stanley, watch this 103, 105. Bank of America, Buffett selling as fast as he can. Got to give her credit, holding up. I mean, end of the month, new flow. We'll see if it sustains next week. Goldman Sachs, holding up. Again, these names, it's rather confusing. And again, people are like, oh, but you can't be confused. It's like, no. The market's meant to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people. If you think you're never going to be confused, you're never going to be wrong, get out of here. Get out of here. Carry, chopping around. Watch the up range highs again. I think all these will fail at some point. XBI, this is a risk-on name, just kind of chopping around into resistance. Housing stocks, I mean, impressive that they're holding up. I mind-boggled considering what's going on. Nice gap down on some of the housing data. I mean, looks like you got a double top, but you got a break date in 10-day. So far, it's holding up. Solar, we talked about any pop is a short on this crap, in my opinion. Sedge, wow, impressive. That thing can barely go anywhere. ENPH, we talked about watching the 120s up here. So far, so good. If you shorted for solar at the 50-day, any of this trap over the 50-day. Talked about this candle last week. Booyakasha. Now it's chopping. You got to break the 100-day. HYG, I mean, I'm mind-boggled. Anyone would be buying corporate debt. Like, just absolutely mind-boggled. Like, why? How? How can you do that? How? Don't do that. I think corporate debt has a big amount of risk moving forward. We'll end it with the oil names. Look at them get crushed today. Absolutely crushed. Again, economic growth slowing. I don't know. Fed's cutting. Good luck. UNG, again, I hate this product. Absolutely hate it. I think the KOLD, as we talked about in the 80s plus, even 90s might be in a better short. XOP, talked about this bouncing. Seems to be stuck. Keep an eye on the 140s. Keep an eye on it. The CVE, again, these oil names are in big choppy slop zones. Interesting, the gasoline names, again, their margins go up when gasoline prices go down, but it looks like a downtrend, just big and sloppy, right? MPC, more European exposure, holding up better, but you better, I mean, that 100 day is real interesting. ExxonMobil has been talk about breaking out. Let it break out. I mean, this thing could chop for a while, folks. Occidental, I know a lot of people getting exciting buying down here. I'm like, I'm just going to let Buffett do his thing. He sells calls endlessly. The covered call king, big chop zone. Again, he'll support it. He'll sell puts, sell calls, and just let that print money. EQT, again, I think same thing. I like this kind of stock. Hopefully waiting for more downside. And when it's ready, Flex LNG, last but not least, chopping around. I think we'll be big natural gas exporters. All right, if you're new to the channel, again, please check out the Discord room. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it so much. We have a week of some data near the end of next week, holiday week early. Might get some traps, bull traps. You might get some action potentially that just puts you in a position where you feel like you're like, ah! All right, well, this is why you just, if you stop out, you're raising your stops, doing whatever you need to do to find your risk. Just please be careful for the love of God. And let me know how I can help you out with real estate. I mean, I really think there's some great buying opportunities. But again, don't pay full market price. Do what you got to do. All right, have a wonderful weekend. Happy Labor Day. Be safe out there. Monday off. I'll talk to you guys and gals later. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.